symbol of the most dreaded seas on Earth, where terrifying gales suddenly arise from the Antarctic, where conflicting currents create fierce tide rips, where relentless winds incite the waves to gigantic heights. Cape Horn was also dreaded because of the Yaghan Indians, the southernmost inhabitants of the world, hunters of sea mammals. 1624. When the Yaghans first encountered Europeans, they massacred 17 sailors of a Dutch fleet under the command of Admiral Lermite. The fleet, comprised of 11 war vessels, 1,637 men, and almost 300 cannons, was the largest ever to enter this very bay. Why did the Yaghans kill those unarmed sailors? Terror at the sight of that mass of ships in their bay? Nothing like their canoes made of tree bark? Panic when confronted with such strange, bearded men? Panic there was, in any case, among the Europeans, as the Yaghans were reported to have eaten 12 of their victims. Cannibalism, the most heinous of crimes. But centuries later, this accusation was found to be false by missionaries who knew the Yaghans well.
A member of Lermite's expedition reported,
"The men are completely naked, but the women cover themselves with a small piece of leather. Some of the natives wear sealskins on their shoulders, which afford them so little protection against the cold, which is so severe in this region that it's amazing that they can resist the winter. Their canoes are truly admirable. They are constructed with the bark of a large tree and formed in the manner of a Venetian gondola. Great attention is paid to their construction. The shell is supported on logs in a manner similar to that employed in the shipyards of Holland. 7 or 8 men can sit comfortably in these canoes, which they row very efficiently."
during the following century and a half, most of the sailing ships navigated in open sea, far out from Cape Horn and the Indians. (1774). The day before Christmas, Captain James Cook, during his second great voyage of discovery, was sailing through this very strait, which he appropriately named Christmas Sound. Of this first meeting with the Yaghans, he wrote,
"I now learned that a number of natives in 9 canoes had been alongside the ship, and some on board. Sunday the 25th, they made us another visit. They are a little ugly, half-starved, beardless race. The canoes were made of bark, and in each was a fire over which the poor creatures huddled themselves. They all retired before dinner and did not wait to partake of the Christmas cheer. Indeed, I believe no one invited them, and for good reasons, for their dirty persons and the stench they carried about them was enough to spoil any man's appetite."
George Forrester, a member of Captain Cook's expedition, was even less inclined to exalt their qualities.
"The whole assemblage of their features formed the most loathsome picture of misery and wretchedness to which human nature can possibly be reduced. If ever the preeminence of a civilized life over that of the savage could have been reasonably disputed, we might, from the bare contemplation of these miserable people, draw the most striking conclusions in favor of our superior happiness. We did not observe any kind of subordination among these people, whose mode of life approaches nearer to that of brutes than that of any other nation. They ramble, perhaps in quest of food, from one bay into another in this horrid country."
Why were these people so demean? Did their mode of life really approach that of brutes? Their country might have been thought of as horrid, difficult, and dangerous.
So all the more might they have inspired admiration for having solved the terrific problems of survival with only tools made of wood, bone, shell, and stone. With their intelligence, ingenuity, and fortitude, with their rancid odor, their untrimmed hair, and their naked bodies. The Yaghans were also fearless navigators in their family-made canoes. They were said to have spent more than half their time on the water, camping a few days to a week along the coasts.
The mother and grown daughter often went out alone in the canoe to fish and secure crabs and sea urchins, for which they sometimes dove into the icy waters. She was the swimmer. If the canoe capsized during a sudden storm, she would strive to rescue the children, but the father might drown, for rarely did the men know how to swim. She made beautiful baskets in which she gathered berries, birds' eggs, and shellfish, the staple food.
But seal hunting was also vital. Seals supplied meat, blubber for oil, and was used as a condiment and as an ointment to protect the body from the cold. The seal's fur skin served as clothing, such as it was, as bedding and covering for the huts and canoes. 1823, Captain James Waddell